Hey, Editing Mando here. Before this video begins, I just want to put a disclaimer. At the beginning of the video, I talk about how the audio may be too loud in the video, the game audio. It turns out the audio is both way too soft, and it's also extremely tinny. And not only that, my voice is echoey. I'm going to fix this for the next episode, but I just want to let you know it's not the best quality, unfortunately. But I think I give a really good performance and good reading of the events, so I'm leaving it here. But this is not going to be indicative of the series. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to let that be known, and I know this is a problem, and I'm going to be fixing it. With that said, please enjoy the episode. Hey, what's going on? This is Mando Crusader here, and welcome to episode 1 of, hopefully, a full playthrough of Sunless Skies Sovereign Edition. So, Sovereign Edition came out in about May, and this is the first time I've been able to really sit down and play it, and I figured, hey, why not make a YouTube series? Why not make a series out of it, right? So, yeah, we're going to be playing Sunless Skies. It's a really good game. I do have two disclaimers to mention before we get into it. The first is I have played this game pre-Sovereign Edition, so I do know the general trajectory mechanics of it. But there's all the new stuff in Sovereign Edition. I have no idea what it's about. I'm going in fresh. I'm going to be creating a fresh character for this series. I hear the level up system's been improved a lot, so I'm looking forward to that. The second disclaimer is that I am still new at this, so the audio may be loud. It may be too loud. If it is, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to fix it. This is like the third or fourth time I've recorded this intro because the audio was too loud and one time it was too soft. So I'm learning. This will get better as time goes on. So let me know in the comments if it's too loud or if just the audio needs work in general. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. We're going to go with a legacy campaign. Because that's the true experience, if you ask me. Also, I forgot to mention this game has a lot of reading in it, so get ready to hear my beautiful monotone voice a lot. We don't need aim assistance. We're gamers on this channel. All right. Whew. This is a really good game, by the way. I highly recommend it. And I recommend you just support Feel Better in general. They make really good games. And there's going to be another one coming out as a dating sim. But I'm sure there's going to be more to it than that. There always is with Feel Better. Log of Her Majesty's Locomotive, the Orphean, March 14th, 1905. Our expeditions to the domain of the dead has been eventful. The Orphean is damaged and in grievous need of repairs and supplies. We are returning, in haste, to the Reach, where I hope to make port at New Winchester. May God be with us, for 1,000 deaths wait in the sky. Final entry of Captain Amelia Charity Whitlock, DCM, written shortly before her death. I'm sure this means only good things for us. And here we are at the Blue Kingdom Transit Relay. Basic controls. You have returned to the Reach, the untamed, sunless span of the heavens. London's new frontier, a celestial garden run wild. Your journey back from the Blue Kingdom was tumultuous. Your locomotive was damaged and Captain Whitlock badly wounded. This tutorial really does a great job at setting up everything and teaching you everything you need to know. As first officer, the crew look to you. The nearest station is New Winchester. Can you get the Orpheum there safely? You know it. Scavenge? Much to the relief of your stokers, you find a barrel of fuel among the detritus. A wreck drifts here, less fortunate even than you. You should scavenge for repairs, a crewman suggests. The wreck of the Ozymandias. The wreck hangs in the sky, pocked with recent gunfire. You and the boarding party don your sky suits, garments of waxed canvas, lined with felt to protect against the cold of the sky. Two of the crew are whispering as they dress. What business did Captain Whitlock have in the Blue Kingdom anyway? Where the devil did he trespass in the districts of the dead? You silence him. Now is not the time. Leap across to the wreck. The gap between the two engines isn't wide, but the endless fathoms of heaven gape beneath it. Leading the way, you jump. Your stomach lurches with vertigo as the stars blaze above you and below. The air of the heavens is thin and torn by unpredictable winds. Then your boots hit the running board of the Ozymandias, and your leather-gloved hands fumble for a hold. One of your companions throws you a line, and you lash the two engines together. Only then do the rest of the boarding party follow you. One of them forces open an exterior hatch, and you clamber inside. Her interior is cold, unlit, and whistles the wind. Your party's lamps spread a buttery light over the narrow, paneled passages. You make your way towards the hold, stepping over bodies crumpled in the corridor. Unfortunately, your way is blocked. A bulkhead has been mangled inward by a well-aimed barrage. And we come across our first choice of the game. Clear the obstruction away, or lead your party on a more precarious path. So this tests the stats in the game, as any good RPG does. There are four. There's iron, bales, hearts, and mirrors. We have a 75% chance either way. Let's clear the obstruction. You locate a length of pipe to use as a pry bar and set to work. This will test your iron skill. Iron is the skill of confronting and overcoming. A memory. You strain against the stubborn steel. As you strain against the stubborn steel, you remember an event from a year ago. A boiler explosion had trapped an engineer under a tangle of plating and pipework. The captain was first on the scene. You were the second. Together, you managed to pry the wreckage upwards enough for you to crawl beneath it, while the captain braced the bar across her back. By all means, take your time, she grunted as you dragged the engineer out. Back in the present, the twisted bulkhead yields. Your companions clear the exposed rubble away. The way is clear. You have reached the Ozymandias' hold, a ruin of smashed cargo and spilled supplies. Hopefully, somewhere amidst the detritus, you can find parts to repair the Orpheum and restock your stores. Conduct a thorough search. Your companions work quickly. The Ozymandias' hull has begun to creak. Your actions on board may have compromised its integrity. And we gain supplies and hull. Renewed! You find enough food and gear to restock your supplies, and enough spare parts to make necessary repairs to the Orpheum. The food will need to be thoroughly thawed, of course, but you've eaten worse in the skies. "Oh-ho!" cries one of your party, prying the lid off a long crate. It holds a cannon, still nestled in straw. Another crewman pulls a battered bird cage from a pile of ruined cargo. Within the cage, something winged and furred opens a sullen eye. You examine your finds. So refill our supplies, gain our hull, fully repair our hull, as a matter of fact. The Ozymandias spent a long, enduring creek. Your boarding party exchanged nervous glances. From the chaos of its hold, you have retrieved repairs and supplies, and discovered some useful equipment. A gun that can be mounted on your locomotive, and an educated bat. So we can claim both, as the game says. Mount the Jerusalem cannon on the Orpheum. Her own weapons were damaged during your flight from the Blue Kingdom. That leaves you vulnerable. Fire and Fury. The Cutterell and Hathersage Jerusalem fires single shells to a good range, more or less accurately. You order 2 of your party to get it back to your vessel and fit it immediately. The Ozymandias groans again. The structure shudders spasmodically. Nailed it, probably. We now have a gun. The Cutterell and Hathersage Jerusalem. It's not the best gun in the world, but it'll do for now until we get something real special eventually. Anyone who's played this game probably knows what I'm talking about. Liberate a diffident bat and employ it as a scout. The heavens are wide, so locomotives use scouts, like bats, to locate things of interest. Ports, resources, wrecks like this one to scavenge. Eyes in the sky. The bat treats its rescue as an inconvenience and immediately begins haggling over pay. You offer to put it back in its damn cage and leave it on the Ozymandias, at which point it becomes more polite. You doubt it will last. We now have a diffident bat. I personally prefer the starry-eyed bat. I think that's what it's called, but I prefer that one. We'll get that eventually as well. So now we come to a big choice here. We can press on to the engine room or return to the Orpheum. You might find more fuel in the engine room. Better hurry. The Ozymandias will be able to tear apart. I am sure this will be fine and will not go badly for us in the slightest. The wreck of the Ozymandias screeches as metal buckles and tears. You press on through the shuddering corridors, searching frantically for the engine room. So now we can test our hearts and mirrors. We have a 50% chance for each. Let's see. Let's go in ourselves and conduct a hasty search. As we all know, a good leader leads in the front. Send the rest of the boarding party back to the Orpheum. Go on alone. And we failed. Alrighty. Flight! The engine room is gray with spilled ash and littered with corpses. Little has survived the Ozymandias' ruin. You search fruitlessly for coal, but you linger too long. As the wreck is racked with final violent tremors, you race back to the Orpheum. With a dying groan, the Ozymandias splits in 2, sending shards of splintered plating spinning into the sky. Several of them bite into the Orpheum, mauling its hull. Not molding. Stoking your engines, you steam away from the collapsing wreck. You are restocked, at least, and rearmed. And we are healthier than when we came initially, so that's a good thing. Yep. Alright. We can send out our scout. Unlike in Sunless Sea, sending out your scout takes supplies here. Hide advice. We don't need tutorials where we're going. Summoned by Captain Whitlock. The walls of the captain's cabin are lined with a hodgepodge of curios from across the sky. Captain Whitlock lies in bed. Black marks cover her skin like a monstrous brand. When she coughs, coils of arid smoke pour from her lungs. I'm sure she'll be fine. Inquire into the captain's injuries. Approach the bedside. Let's inquire into the captain's injuries. I mean, I'm sure they're going to tell us everything's fine, right? Right? The brand. A word of living fire pursued the Orpheum across the Blue Kingdom. It caught you just before you passed through the transit relay to the reach and set its brand upon the captain. It's burned itself right through her, the doctor whispers. When I closed the worst of her wounds, I could see the signs seared into her bones and her organs. Judging from her symptoms, on the inside of her lungs, too. The captain leans to one side and vomits a plume of fire into a copper bowl. There is nothing the doctor can do. Alrighty then. Approach the bedside. The captain opens her eyes as you draw near. She attempts to smile. Her mouth is blistered from the blue fires that dance on her tongue. Her hand grips your arm. Her skin is hot as a kettle. Made arrangements. The Orpheum will be yours. Her voice is just a rasp of burned meat breath. But promise! She breaks off to scream a word in a language that was not made for human mouths. When she resumes speaking English, she's weaker, and requests a little more than a gasp. Promise me one last service. Promise! Promise her you will obey her last command, make no promise to the rest. Pull away or demand to know why she took the Orpheum to the Blue Kingdom. We may as well promise her. At least we could do. Whatever it is, you'll see it done. She sinks back, relieved. All in my will, she gasps. Be better. She breaks off as the sigils burn into her bones flare, glowing cherry red through her flesh and skin. Better captain than I. The effort exhausts her. She sinks back into the scorched pillows in a twisting, frantic fever. Alrighty then. Take your leave. You have an engine to command. We have no other comment about this, apparently. Other business. You leave the cabin and the scorched stink of its air behind and return to the bridge. New Winchester is further than you'd like, and the captain hasn't long left. Blow our way through this barrier here. Ah! Our first taste of combat. As I whiff my first shot. Only the highest tier gameplay on this channel. Perfect dodge. Nailed it. Alright. Loot. The Reach Marauders defeated. You appear to board the buckled wreckage, poised to plunder the plunderers. Behind you, someone is humming a song of victory. I feel like we should strip it for repairs, considering our ill-advised choice to charge in through that wreck. So, let's strip it for repairs. Putting it to use, your engineers scour the remains of the Marauder for intact parts. Even before its defeat, it was rusting and rickety, displaying a patchwork of reclaimed steel and repurposed bronze wood. But enough can be salvaged to repair some of the damage to your own locomotive. New Winchester is this way. Bancroft's form. And here she is. Ow. New Winchester. Home sweet home. Arrival at New Winchester. You coast into the bustle, the din, the soot, and the steam of Wolvesey Station. It is clogged with other engines, scrappy mining locomotives from Lustrum Way, weathered explorers gleaming with frost, sleek company vessels with bright brass fittings. No sooner have you pulled into the sidings than a brusque station master bustles over. He requests to come aboard. I must speak with your captain, he insists, brandishing a ledger. The usual formalities. Look to the Orphean's doctor. He has just appeared at your shoulder. His face is sullen. His hat is in his hands. He lowers his eyes. The passing. The crew exchange bleak, wordless looks. The Orphean itself feels suddenly more empty. The station master looks confused. You inform him that, unfortunately, Captain Whitlock has just passed. Ah, he says neutrally. Sorry to hear that. Very sad, very sad. He waits for what he considers an appropriate minute and a half before continuing. Alas, even amidst tragedy, the cogs of bureaucracy must turn. If Captain Whitlock is deceased, the station authority require their answers from the first officer. He dons a set of spectacles and locates his pen. It will be relatively painless. Name, background, purpose of visit, etc. Shall we begin? And character creation time. Now, I, from a previous playthrough, have a very specific background and story that I want to do that I found very, very satisfying when I did it. And to do this, we're going to take a revolutionary. But first, we may as well do this. Today, London lies between the stars. Her new empire unfolds across the heavens. But 10 years ago, before the Northern Gate was opened, before the renewed Empress led her people into the skies, it lay in a cavern far beneath the earth. I can't see my recording thing here, but it says something about a sunless sea over here. Who were you then? We were a revolutionary. The world is broken. One for the rich, another for the poor. You decided to do something about it. You will begin with high veils, the skill of evading and deceiving. You were revolutionary. You were a revolutionary, not the revolutionary. The law offered you no protection. The engines of the state were set against that which you knew to be just. So how did you resist? With your feet and your fists. You marched. When marching wasn't enough, you fought. increases your iron, the skill of confronting and overcoming, and affiliates you with villainy. However, we're not going to be just any old revolutionary. There's a special kind of revolutionary in the Fallen London universe. Again, those of you in the know already know what I'm going for, but everyone else, you'll see soon enough. Next, almost finally, we need to choose an ambition. What does winning mean to you? And we're going to choose the truth. Even the stars have secrets, but they won't keep them from you. A message from an old friend begins an unwise quest to learn a secret that the stars hide. What drives you? Curiosity, justice, insolence? Whatever it is, it will be tested. It says here, be warned, this is a demanding ambition, best played by a lineage that's already completed wealth or fame. But you know what? I don't need any previous legacy. I don't need that. Next up, we're going to throw in our appearance. Looks good. Nose looks fine. Oh man, character creation always takes me such an unreasonably long time. Going with the revolutionary theme, we're going to go with Comrade, title of address. And now the hardest part for me, choosing my name. What will I be called? Let's see. Williams, Carrington, Comrade McAdam. That sounds good. Alright. It looks good. Our starting stats are 17 iron, 10 hearts, 10 mirrors, and 25 veils. Let's start our adventure. The reading of the will. 3 weeks have passed. This morning, Captain Whitlock received a simple memorial service. Her body was consigned to a necropolis train bound for the Serene Mausoleum. Now you sit with a handful of her relatives in the threadbare offices of her solicitors. A methodical notary is reading the will. The captain was wealthy once, but squandered her capital on mysterious expenses before her expedition to the Blue Kingdom. Listen to the end. The captain's relatives, from whom she was mostly estranged, are clearly wondering why you are here. I also love that it says 3 weeks have passed, but in the little date down at the bottom here, it's clearly only been 2 days. That's just a funny little thing I always noticed. To her word, in a final codicil, the notary announces, Captain Whitlock confirmed that possession of the Orpheum was to pass to its first officer. He peers at you with dry, gray eyes. This includes a certain black box contained in the Orpheum's hold. Captain Whitlock's final request was that, at a time of your choosing, you transport said box to an address in London. He hands you an address card and deposit it there. You are not to look inside. She gave no explanation. And that's it. You're captain now. The Orpheum is yours. So here we have our first mission here, Captain Whitlock's Legacy. You can investigate the black box in Winchester. You could take the box to London as requested, or you could sell it and be done. But that would be a really terrible thing to do, so let's not do that. You've been bequeathed a large black box which once belonged to Captain Whitlock, and we now have 100 sovereigns. That is the currency of the game. I disable advice. There we go. The clamoring Central Station, New Winchester, a place of steam and smut and thundering iron. Here you can find people willing to pay for a skilled captain's services. So, at least until we get to... Well, here's the thing. Every region in the game, there's 4 of them, has a central hub station. And this one, Wolvesey Station, is the Reaches. So we're going to be eventually coming back here a lot. So, yeah. First things first, an opportunity, the fastidious inspector. Excuse me? Captain! Owen pushes through the crowds towards you. She is short and square, shouldered in a neat black suit and polished shoes. She shows you the case of her pocket watch. It is embossed with the crown and hourglass of London's horological office, the body responsible for ensuring time is consistent across the empire. I'm hoping to book passage to Port Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Of course, pay. Offer for passage. Pay sounds promising. A new passenger. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down following a boiler rupture. The chief engineer's fault, I suspect. A gentleman fonder of brandy and diligence. Here, an initial sum to seal our bargain. Prosper lies to the northwest of New Winchester. Not that there is such a thing as north, south, east, or indeed west out here. Instead, London cartographers picked 4 of the brighter, more reliable stars visible from the Empress's new palace and named them north, east, south, and west. Londoners value familiarity. So this is our first big job. If the Captain Whitlock's legacy is our first big quest, this is our first transport job, really. So we are transporting a fastidious inspector to Port Prosper, and we've gained 50 sovereigns as well. That's pretty cool. If we look on our chart, it should be that Port Prosper is somewhere over here. So that might, depending on places, that might be a good place to set out for first. Next up, we can recruit the incautious driver. I specialize in test driving, but I'm looking for something quieter. The driver indicates a crashed engine still smoking. Like that, without the screaming. Officers require a sign-on fee. Allow the driver to join your crew. What harm can it do? This will get you a chief engineer who will increase your iron by 6, your hearts by 2, and your affiliation establishment by 1. So this is one of the ways that you gain stats in Sunless, guys, is with your officers. There are 5 of them. First officer, quartermaster, signaler, chief engineer, and mascot. This will give us a chief engineer, one of the better ones, to be honest with you. Brave or fearless. The driver boards, eager to get started. I recently parted ways with the Windward Company, they explained. Personally, I think a crash a week isn't so bad. They disagreed. Oh well, live and learn. Onwards! Is there anything you want me to do here so that you can stop? Okay. Okay. That was getting a little annoying. Next up, I would like to do Ambition and Old Friend. Following your return to New Winchester, you are eager to meet up with an old friend. She is an earnest agitator. You were firebrands together. You kept one another's secrets, even in dank brick cellars where special constables bloodied their knuckles on your ribs and jaws. For the Revolution. In time, you learned to temper your fires with guile. You were in this for the long haul. When London relocated, you went with it and resumed your activism in the heavens. Your friend somehow acquired a locomotive, the Azazel, the Azazel. Some of these names, man, they're really hard to pronounce. Perhaps it was a gift from her patrons. Perhaps, as some said, she was the black sheep of a wealthy old blood family. She took her cause to the far corners of the sky. She is still captain of the Azazel, and associates with a group of seasoned captains who gather at the Promise of Days here in New Winchester. Perhaps you can find her there. First step on our ambition. Now, before we go, we want to explore the city. The smoggy, clanking, singing, stamping, thronging, frantic heart of the Reach. An ever-expanding port of soot and smudged glass and bright steel spilling across a drifting, mist-wrapped archipelago. Its factories thunder, its engine sheds ring with hammers and hiss with steam. Locomotives chug into sidings for repair or flare across the sky and away into the high wilderness. An opportunity. Learn about trading. Successful skyfarers fund their expeditions by dabbling in trade. Inquire whether there are any good trading opportunities available. We want to get this tutorial out of the way. On the pedal trail, a port of the station invites you to visit the nearby pub at the Promise of Days and talk to the seasoned captains there. They keep their ears to the ground, they know about an opportunity or two. So this is the tutorial quest to teach about the market, the economy system. So we want to get this done because, hey, free money. Free money is always a good thing. Visit the Promise of Days, a club where seasoned captains gather to trade stories and to share advice with younger skyfarers. Old pistons gleam on the walls. The shelves are crowded with mementos from across the sky. The clientele raise their voices to be heard above the comforting clamor of the adjacent engine yards. Introduce yourself to the seasoned captains. They are always happy to offer words of advice, sometimes many words. Instructions. 4 are gathered at their usual table. The masked citizen, a libertine, polymath, and pioneer of the neo-nocturnal artistic school. The bedeviled didact, scholar haunted by his discoveries. The plucky baroness, explorer, collector. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that one. And spatchcocker Meg, who hunts monsters. Of course, everything out here is jolly dangerous, says the Baroness. Few risk the skies, so news of distant ports is valuable. Collect port reports on the places you visit and deliver them to Victory Hall or Company House. The more you turn at once, the more they'll pay. Look for other opportunities of the way, advises the masked citizen. Passengers who want transport, rich men in need of bloody work, etc. So we have two things we need to talk about here. First, ask them how to make your fortune through trade. Between them, they have carried Nefertine gemstones from Eleutheria, souls to the Blue Kingdom, and raw hours to London. Have they tips? Ah, the didact says, fiddling with his innumerable talismans. An essential topic. Meg slides to a stool, and the captains shuffle around to make room. The masked citizen buys you a drink of their own invention. It is violet and foggy. The plucky baroness gives you a brisk, encouraging grin. Ask away. A trading opportunity, as they know of a good prospect available. In point of fact, I do, says the masked citizen, tapping an elegant finger on their elegant glass. An opportunity! The host at Magdalen sees an urgent delivery of seeds. Paying a pretty penny, too. Who are you? I'd get to the bazaar straight away. Put my mark against it. Meg grunts. Broker in Port Avon is selling cheap seeds. Chirpy chap. Gosh knows why. His face is like he's been pushed through a mangle. An opportunity. Port Avon lies to the southwest of New Winchester, and Magdalen lies to the west of New Winchester. So the southeast of New Winchester, eh? Go to the bazaar. I said seize the Magdalen's prospect. We're not going to read the rest of this. I'll explain the system as we go. Much quicker than all of this will. So, yeah. Change the subject, because we need to talk to them about one more thing. Inquire after the earnest agitator. You know she's one of their coterie, but where is she? One of the gang. Ah, she speaks often of you, the lucky baroness says. I'm afraid you've missed her. We've all been missing her recently. Busy girl, but she's doing important work in London. The bedeviled didact frowns darkly and fingers one of his amulets. We've been assisting in our own small ways, but, well, she'll want to explain herself. She's left a letter for you. Meg pulls a crumpled envelope from the pocket of her patched coat. I'd open it somewhere private. Or someone, she glares at the masked citizen, will try to read over your shoulder. The masked citizen nods unapologetically. It's true, I'm a disgrace. Read the letter elsewhere in New Winchester. Your friend left you a letter, which included a coded message. Can you decipher it? Go elsewhere. And ambition, the encoded letter. Privately, you examine the letter. The earnest agitator's handwriting, never neat, is clearly hurried. There are several unfinished trains of thought angrily struck through. She writes, coyly, of having embarked on a journey of the most fundamental discovery and of having uncovered celestial secrets. She says she wants to discuss her progress with you, but does not say where or when. The envelope also contains a collection of unfinished crosswords cut from the newspapers. So we can't do this yet because we need 2 savage secrets, so we're going to have to come back to this one. Now let's go to the bazaar. So the trade system, in a nutshell, is every hub station will have these prospects that basically some other station needs a good, and they will pay extra for that good. And also, and other stations have special sales in their bazaar. The non-hub stations, just say, have these sales. You can buy items for cheaper than they usually would cost. So what you want to do is find these sales, buy those for cheap, and then turn them in at the various locations that they're needed at shown in the prospects, so you can make massive amounts of money. Well, not massive, but really good money. So this is the Siege from Maglin. We're going to claim that one. And we're not going to claim that one because we need to... I'd rather... This is the tutorial one. That's where we're claiming this one. We're not going to claim any more until we have a lay of the land and figure out where everything is, because the map is different every time. This map is going to be way different than the map of my original legacy. So before we end the episode, we're going to stock up, buy some more fuel, buy another supplies. We're going to blow all of our money, but we're going to be going on an adventure next turn. Next episode. So I think that's all for this one. We're over 30 minutes now, and we got the tutorial. We got through everything we need to do at Wolvesy Station. So, next episode, we're going to be exploring the Reach and getting the lay of the land. So, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, especially about the audio. Let me know if it was too loud. That's about it. See you in the next episode, and have a good one.